Picture this Christmas Eve in suburban Chicago. Snow is swirling outside the frosted windows like a silent storm. The dining room is alive with the warm flicker of candlelight, the scent of roasted turkey and pine filling the air. Laughter echoes from every corner, your kids giggling over holiday jokes, your in-laws clinking glasses, cousins sharing stories from the year gone by. You've spent weeks making this perfect, hanging lights on the porch despite the biting cold, baking apple pies from your grandmother's recipe, setting the table with the heirloom china that only comes out once a year. And then your husband stands up. He taps his fork against his wine glass for attention. The room quiets just enough. He looks right at you, a smirk playing on his lips. And in front of your children, your parents, your siblings, everyone who has ever seen you as the unbreakable heart of this family, he says these words loud and clear. Don't get me wrong, I still care about my wife. But marrying her, that's turned into the biggest regret of my entire damn life. The table erupts in laughter. Your brother-in-law slaps his knee, howling. Your sister chuckles nervously, glancing your way. Even your teenage Emma with her braces flashing. And little Jack, just 10, wide-eyed and confused, join in, thinking it's one of Dad's funny roasts like he does at barbecues. Aunt Linda raises her glass in a mock toast. Oh, Greg, you're terrible. The sound crashes over you like a wave of ice water. But your fork slips from your fingers, clinking against the plate. The world narrows to a pinpoint. Your chest tightens, breath caught in a vice. 15 years of building this life. This home, this illusion shattered in an instant. Right here under the twinkling Christmas tree you decorated together last weekend. The laughter swells, but inside you a quiet fire ignites. Not rage, not yet, but a resolve, sharp and unyielding, that this is the end. This wasn't the death of Laura's story. This was her rebirth. Laura sat there for what felt like an eternity, the candle flames dancing in her vision like mocking stars as the chuckles faded into awkward silence. Someone finally noticing her frozen expression. The memories hit her like a blizzard, pulling her back to the days when everything felt right. She remembered their first date back in college at Northwestern. It was a crisp fall afternoon in Evanston, leaves crunching underfoot as they walked along Lake Michigan's shore. Greg had been nervous. Fumbling with a picnic basket, he'd packed himself sandwiches from a deli, cheap wine in plastic cups, since freshman orientation. You make everything brighter, he'd said, his hand brushing hers. That kiss under the setting sun tasted like promise, like forever. By the end of the night, she knew he was the one. Then came the wedding, 5 years later. A small ceremony in a quaint chapel in downtown Chicago. Snowflakes dust in the ground like confetti from the heavens. Laura in her simple white gown. Greg in a rented tux that didn't quite fit right. Their vows echoed in the quiet space, through thick and thin. I'll choose you every day. The reception was in a community hall with string lights and homemade cake. They danced to their song, Wonderful Tonight, by Eric Clapton, his arms around her waist. Whispering dreams of a house in the suburbs, kids running in the yard. That night, tangled in hotel sheets, he promised her the world. The birth of Emma was next, in the middle of a brutal Midwest winter. The hospital room in Oak Park smelled of antiseptic and hope. Greg held her hand through 16 hours of labor, wiping sweat from her brow, telling her she was the strongest woman he'd ever known. When Emma cried her first cry, Greg's eyes filled with tears. He cradled their daughter like she was made of glass, looking at Laura with awe. We're parents, he breathed. That moment bonded them deeper than words. Sleepless nights, first steps. The joy of watching Emma toddle across their tiny apartment floor. Jack came 3 years later, during a summer heat wave. The delivery was easier, but the emotion just as raw. Greg paced the waiting room, then burst in with flowers he'd grabbed from the hospital gift shop. Holding Jack, he kissed Laura's forehead. You've given me everything. Family vacations followed. Road trips to Wisconsin Dells, splashing in water parks, camping in Michigan's Upper Peninsula, roasting marshmallows under starry skies. Disney World when the kids were old enough. Greg carrying Jack on his shoulders through the crowds, Emma's hand in Laura's. Those were the days of inside jokes, shared glances, a love that felt solid as the ground beneath them. But cracks had formed over time, subtle at first. Late nights at the office for Greg, a sales manager climbing the ladder, texts he deleted too quickly, a woman's name Sarah from work popping up in conversations more often. Laura had pushed the doubts away, telling herself it was paranoia, that their life was too good to question. Now, back in the dining room on Maple Lane, the laughter had turned to uneasy murmurs. Greg's face paled as he realized the joke had landed like a bomb. "Laura, honey, I didn't mean..." But she was already rising, her chair scraping against the hardwood floor. The family stared, Mom's eyes wide with shock, Dad shifting uncomfortably, brother-in-law frozen mid-sip, sister whispering what just happened, Emma's laughter dying into confusion. "Mom?" Jack looking scared, his fork hovering over his mashed potatoes. Aunt Linda tried to diffuse. "Oh, come on, it's just Greg being Greg." But the air was thick, the festive glow suddenly oppressive. Laura's heart pounded, a drumbeat of finality. She met each gaze, pity from some, awkward avoidance from others, and felt the weight of years spent holding this family together. "No more. You won't have to regret me anymore," she said, her voice steady as steel, though inside she was shattering. The room fell silent, the only sound, the faint crackle of the fireplace. Greg stammered, "Wait, Laura." She didn't. She walked out, past the kitchen where the pie sat cooling, past the tree adorned with ornaments from every year of their marriage, and up the stairs to the guest room she'd started using as an office. Locking the door, she sank to the floor, the folder in her drawer calling to her like a lifeline she'd known for months. It started with a forgotten phone receipt in his jacket pocket, a hotel downtown, not for business. Then the emails she stumbled upon one night when he slept, flirty messages to Sarah, plans for lunch that lasted hours, photos on his cloud drive, arms around each other at a bar, smiles that screamed intimacy. Laura had confronted herself in the mirror that night. Why stay? For the kids, for the house, for the life she'd built. But the pain had built like a slow storm night staring at the ceiling, wondering if she was enough, if she'd failed somehow. She'd even tried to fix it, date nights she planned, lingerie she bought but never wore. Nothing changed. The betrayal festered, a secret wound. Downstairs, voices rose in hushed arguments. Greg, knocking on the door later, pleading through the wood. "It was a joke, babe. Too much wine." She didn't answer. That night, she slept alone, the snow piling up outside like her resolve. The next morning, Christmas Day, the house was eerily quiet, presents under the tree untouched. Greg on the couch, rumpled and hungover, nursing coffee. Laura placed the divorce papers beside his mug printed weeks ago. Signed last night. A note. "The regret ends today." He stared, then laughed bitterly. You're serious? Over one stupid comment? She stood in the doorway, suitcase by her feet. "That comment was the truth you've hidden for years. You humiliated me in front of our family. Let them laugh at my pain. I'm done being your regret," he begged, then voice cracking. "The kids think about Emma and Jack." She met his eyes, seeing the man she once loved, now a stranger. "I'm thinking about them and about me." She left as the snow fell heavier, driving to her sister's house in the suburbs. The kids were confused, tearful calls coming in. But Laura knew she had to face them head on. 2 days later, in the quiet of her sister's living room, she sat Emma and Jack down on the couch. The room smelled of fresh coffee and leftover holiday cookies. They looked small, vulnerable. Emma twisting her hair, Jack clutching a stuffed bear from his stocking. "Kids," Laura began, her voice soft but firm, kneeling to their level. "I need to talk to you about something important. Daddy and we're getting a divorce." Emma's eyes widened. "What? Why? Is it because of what Dad said at dinner?" Laura nodded, tears welling but holding back. "Partly. But it's more than that. Sometimes grown-ups grow apart. Daddy made choices that hurt me deeply, and I can't pretend anymore." Jack sniffled. "Does he not love us?" Oh, sweetie. Laura pulled him into a hug, Emma joining, their small bodies shaking. He loves you both so much. This isn't about you. It's about us not being happy together anymore. You'll still see him all the time, weekends, holidays, everything. Emma pulled back, angry tears streaming. But why didn't you tell us sooner? Why pretend? Laura wiped her daughter's cheek. I wanted to protect you, but that was wrong. From now on, no more pretending. We'll be honest, even when it's hard. They cried together, arms entangled. Laura rocked them, whispering assurances. We'll make new traditions. You'll always have me, and I'll always have you. Hours passed in questions and comforts, ending in exhausted hugs. It was the start of their new normal. Healing didn't come easy. Laura moved into a modest apartment near Lake Michigan. The waves a constant reminder of change. She started therapy at a clinic in Evanston, weekly sessions in a cozy room with plants and soft lighting. In her first session, she poured it out. I feel like I failed. Like if I'd been more exciting, more something, he wouldn't have strayed. The therapist, a kind woman named Dr. Ellis, leaned forward. Betrayal isn't about your shortcomings, Laura. It's about his choices. You didn't cause this. You survived it. Breakthroughs came slowly. One session, Laura admitted, I lost myself in that marriage. Who am I without him? Dr. Ellis smiled. That's what we're here to find out. Start small. What makes you happy? Laura rediscovered old passions, painting in the evenings, the smell of acrylics filling her space, jogging along the lakefront, wind whipping her hair, reading books she'd shelved for years. She journaled her pain, turning it into poetry. Meditation apps became her nightly ritual, breathing through the waves of grief. Friends rallied, coffee dates turned into support circles. She even tried yoga classes, her body remembering strength she'd forgotten. Months blurred into seasons. Custody shared smoothly, Greg remorseful but distant. Laura's new life bloomed, a promotion at her marketing job, allowing flexible hours for the kids. Small victories stacked, cooking new recipes without fear of criticism, decorating her apartment with bold colors she'd always loved but Greg hated, a first date that ended in laughter, not commitment, reminding her she was desirable. Weekends with Emma and Jack were magic. Board games by the window, watching snow blanket the city, baking cookies that burned but tasted like freedom, walks along the frozen lake, throwing snowballs and sharing dreams. Emma opened up about school crushes. Jack confided his fears. Their bond deepened, unfiltered by marital tension. The first Christmas post-divorce was simple, a tiny tree in her apartment, string lights twinkling like stars. No grand feast, just takeout Chinese and hot cocoa. They exchanged handmade gifts, Emma's drawing of their new family, Jack's bracelet from beads. Laura read them stories by the fire, their heads on her lap. As midnight struck, snow falling outside, she felt peace or warmth from within, not borrowed from anyone else. If you've ever felt invisible in your own life, ever dimmed your light to keep someone else's shining, ever wondered if you're strong enough to walk away? You are. Laura's journey wasn't about revenge or bitterness. It was about reclaiming her story. And in doing so, she taught her children and herself that true love starts with self-respect. If this touched you, share it. You deserve warmth from inside. If you found this video valuable or entertaining, please like it and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to ring the notification bell so you never miss an upload.